no. Like that would be where I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, it's past my bedtime. I gotta go. And then I log off forever. Okay. So
that's actually surprising to hear from you.
I know. I need like an air horn.
I've never heard the inflection in her voice go up when she says that, like how her week was.
Oh, ooh. Yeah, I mean, some general annoyances have happened, but I just brushed those off now. So the other day, we went to get my hair done. We were actually here recording this previously, and my hair was completely wet, and I was getting it dried at the very end, and of course my stylist looks at me and says, oh no. Oh. I can't let you leave like this. I'm like, I'm running late to something. I've already been in this chair for 2 hours. Please let me leave. And she's like, oh, I have to put something else in your hair. And then her face, it was really just more about the pure panic in her face that was really reassuring.
That's never good.
No. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let's go back over and put some more shit in my hair. And she does, and she keeps apologizing. And I'm like, lady, honestly, this is so fine. Like, I'm like, this is no sweat off my back at this point. Just let me leave. So I left with the wettest hair. I looked like a wet poodle when I left. And
but a very cute wet poodle.
Like the boy poodles go, wah. Exactly.
I just want to say, if my hairdresser ever said, oh no, in real time to me, that'd be my 13th reason, like then and there. I had enough hair trauma to last a lifetime.
Yeah.
Well, then I looked at her and I knew she was like really getting frazzled because her next appointment was there and I was running late to something. And I was like, honestly, this is fine. I will blow dry it at home. It's not that big of a deal. And so she was very appreciative and that made me feel good. So, it was a circle of events. But on a brighter note, I went to a fun party yesterday because one of my films got into a film festival.
Hey, talk about it.
Oh, ooh. Yeah. So it was my first ever producer credit for a short film. So I filmed it last December, and I just went into a couple of film festivals, including the UCLA Fest, and we had a big party on the Fox lot for our film, The Studio Assistant, plus 19 other nominees, so it was a really fun time.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Snaps for you.
Did you have a foxtrot on the Fox lot?
Oh, yeah, I did. I hid in a soundstage for a minute, and I was just practicing my foxtrot.
I get the choreo.
I've actually heard that's the requirement to even get on the lot, is you have to show a really good
dance audition.
foxtrot.
It is. The security guard was hard but fair. Like,
They usually are. Can we also appreciate Katrina we're all, well, Rachel's been here the longest. We'll let her laugh this one out. And I've been here 2 years. Rachel, or Katrina, how long have you been here?
a year and a half.
That's very soon to have your first producer credit. And I just say, we're very proud of Katrina.
Yes, we are. I've been here 5 years, to answer your question, as of yesterday.
She's the elder among us. Just kidding.
No, I'm not.
In Los Angelino times.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
For some context for the listeners, we are all from Michigan, different parts. We didn't know each other in Michigan. We magnetically found each other when we moved here.
Yeah.
As Michiganders tend to do.
Yeah.
It is true. It's a weird thing how we all kind of just find each other, but
yeah.
it's because we need each other.
Because we hate the Angelinos.
It's that Midwestern pessimism that just draws us all together.
It's something.
It's
like forced manners or the bad accent or something.
Someone just says pop or ope, and we're like, where are they?
Like, our people. We have said ope at least 17 times in the last 3 days, and every time I just keep calling it out. I'm like, ope.
Yeah.
Ope.
It's a full-fledged word to me, though.
It is.
I don't think of it as anything
It's a full-fledged
out of the ordinary.
phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you need.
It is the Michigan
survive.
cherry on the cake.
The Traverse City cherry.
Michigan.
I love that.
In the root beer float pop.
Yes. Wow. I love this.
How was your guys' week?
I had a pretty decent week.
It sounds like, sorry, just to interject for a second. It sounds like that one scene in Freaky Friday where Jamie Lee Curtis is asking Evan, her client, how his week has been. He was like, this week has been.
Oh, yeah.
So which one of us is the therapist and which one of us is the one in need of therapy?
We're all in need
All
of
of us,
Yeah,
yes,
Mark
okay.
is the therapist. Sorry. To put
Ask
you in
us
that
how we feel
position.
about this. So I had a pretty decent week. I had a vocalist audition. I'm mainly an actor, but sometimes I sing too. And I had this audition I was prepping for like 2 weeks, and it was like a big, like a whole bunch of songs with lead vocals, and I had to also do backing vocals for them and backing vocals for all the guys' songs. So it was like really excited, doing a whole bunch of prep for it, a bunch of vocal coaching, etc. Night before, I couldn't sleep till 7 a.m. Showed up, and one of the 3 male vocalists showed up. So it was him and the 2 lead vocalists, females, me and the other girl. The bass player did not show up, and the horns were told that they would have sheet music and were not given anything. So they were guessing at what notes they were supposed to play. And they were good musicians, but they were still guessing nevertheless. So the mix in my ear did sound like my middle school band class at times. And then the other thing that was crazy was this other girl who was auditioning next to me for lead vocals. We sound identical except for our vibrato. Hers is a little bit like wider. And so while we were mic checking, I hear my voice. I'm like, I am not singing right now. What's going on? That's weird. And I'm like, oh God, oh. And I'm like, and like I let her finish the phrase, and I'm like, girl, listen to this. And I sing the same thing, and she's like, oh God. Like,
oh my God.
Like we have the same exact voice. So they obviously put us together for that reason to like, either pit us against each other or see how we'd blend.
That's the worst part about auditioning is just that concept. I was telling you how last week, was it last week? Probably. Let's go with it. I had that callback, and as I was walking out, I mean, this is the most cliche thing ever, but I have never met someone who looked so much like me. As I was walking out, the next girl to audition, or not even audition, for the callback, was walking in, and I was like,
yeah,
my twin.
Identical hand twins?
Identical body twins.
But you put a lot of effort into that audition, so
You did.
I'm going
I
to give you
hope.
snaps
Yeah,
as well. Very
yeah.
proud.
Thank you. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to auditions. I just like
Yeah, you
prepare
are.
everything. I really, she knows.
Yeah.
I really am.
We couldn't be more opposite.
Rachel's like, I will not be memorizing a word. I'll be reading off the camera, and I'm actually going to wing everything. And I'm breaking out in hives as she says this.
I wing everything, but hey, it works for me. This
both
is the only
styles.
way I book.
Both styles work for you guys.
You gotta go your own way.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And that's what makes us fun.
Yes.
Okay, so my week was actually okay as
Hey,
well.
look at us.
I'm trying to remember what I did, but I know that we did do that Harry Potter night at Idle Hour.
Yeah.
Which was a little bit of a letdown,
Little
but mostly because it was so freaking hot. I mean, this past week
Yeah.
has been like 100 degrees every day and even at night. So we went to this Harry Potter night at this bar, and they had like themed Harry Potter drinks and stuff. We got a drink called the Polyjuice Potion, and it was like tequila and like melon and pineapple and shit.
Because I wanted to be someone else.
Don't we all?
We got the Polyjuice potion.
She wants her Freaky Friday moment.
Yes. And people were dressed up because I guess there was like a costume contest beforehand. I mean, we got there fashionably late as we always do, but so we're there, and
Queen
then
is never late.
exactly. So we got to see some fun costumes. There was one person that was, I think, dressed up as Hedwig, which I thought was brilliant. That's the owl for
Okay.
you, non-Harry Potter folk.
Like, no, full offense, but when you say Harry Potter at Idle Hour, my brain takes an idle hour. Like, I don't. Like, I just clock out.
Okay, moving on.
I'm listening, though. I'm listening.
But then after that, we were only there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Then after that, we went to Desert 5, had a great time. It was still 100 degrees outside, but we danced the night away to 90s country music and just were sweating profusely, but it was still fun. I don't know. That pretty much sums up my entire week, even though that was only one night. But I think I just did a lot of auditions, and I was, just in a time warp. So.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good considering the last 5 weeks we've been trying to record this episode and have had like just
Zero luck.
disastrous.
We've had a lot of
After-
bonkers things happen to us.
Yes.
So we're turning.
We're coming out the other end.
Yeah, we are.
Yes.
A little worn down and humbled, but here we are.
We're diving into 2004, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this week we are talking about A Cinderella Story. And yeah, that came out in 2004.
We should specify the Hilary Duff version.
Yes.
Because there's like 5,000 of
Yes.
them.
Well, yeah, the one that came out in 2004.
The iconic.
Yes. The only.
The only
The one and only.
acceptable
Yes.
Cinderella story. And I mean, let's talk about this time. This was like the peak of human existence.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Yeah.
Last time I felt happiness.
Right?
Little fun fact, Lizzie McGuire was ending in 2004. So this is when she is like now becoming her own actor, making her own like stamp on the world as not a Lizzie McGuire
character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for her.
Yeah. So, I mean, timeline, it was probably the best part of all of our lives.
Yeah.
So
that sounds right. 4th grade for me. Hell yeah.
I don't want to do the math, but older than that. So also things that were happening in 2004 to set the stage of the time that we are at when this movie comes out. Jennifer Aniston and Jude Law were both voted sexiest man and woman respectively alive during that period.
That sounds right. I don't think much has changed, to be honest.
Honestly, no. It was a big year for Jennifer Aniston. She was still with Brad Pitt, but they are about to break up. And Friends is ending during this period as well. So big,
Wow.
it was the end of an era. For
Tumultuous time for the culture.
real. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's like
Friends.
hanging on the edge of their seat.
I'll be there for you, my ass. Where are you now, friends?
And then also some fun pop culture. Britney Spears and Kevin Federline were together and they were becoming a thing.
Well,
Getting married.
Oh, because I read, where is it? Hold on. This is interesting. Maybe this was the same year though, because I don't know what month this was, but I found that in 2004, Britney Spears married high school friend Jason Alexander, and then it says not the Seinfeld star, for
I was about to be like,
for nearly an entire weekend. And then in parentheses, 55 hours.
give it their best shot.
All right, so other things that are happening during this time. Ashley Simpson was caught lip syncing.
Yes, I have that too.
And finally, Napoleon Dynamite made everyone obsessed
Oh my God.
with tater tots.
Okay, but speaking of Napoleon Dynamite, listen to this shit. Napoleon Dynamite, so the movie, had a budget of only $400,000, and John Heder, who played Napoleon Dynamite, was paid only $1,000 for his role. $1,000
What?
to become an icon.
Was
was
this
a
a SAG film?
It was like a super independent, like student-esque film. Like it
Yeah.
was.
I mean, I can believe that from the quality, but that's still crazy.
I know. Can you imagine being paid $1,000 for that?
poor guy.
Oh man,
That's
but you know
crazy.
what? It was the right choice.
Yeah, I mean, it launched his career.
Yeah.
That ended
Well,
very
did
soon.
he do
there.
anything after that?
Yeah, Benchwarmers.
Did he? Okay.
He did some other things. I don't know. Another thing, 2004, Janet Jackson's right breast was exposed by Justin Timberlake during 2004's Super Bowl halftime show while they sang "Rock Your Body."
Fun fact.
And boy, did they rock her body.
I remember watching that and it got blurred because it was on national television. And I remember watching Super Bowl and everyone was like freaking out. And I was like young. So I'm like, well, what's going on, guys?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a dance. Like, get over it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Oh,
nudity.
I did immediately. I was like, "Meh?
Yeah.
What?
I was pretty dumb.
I was not there live. I don't know what I was doing. Probably playing with horses.
Probably. Speaking of like television and shit, some major shows that were on during this time, like the top biggest shows: CSI, American Idol, Desperate Housewives, CSI Miami, Without a Trace, Survivor, Grey's Anatomy, Everybody Loves Raymond, Monday Night Football, and 2.5 Men.
Idol was so.
Oh,
huge.
I remember rushing home from dance just to catch American Idol.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did the same thing.
Oh.
And Housewives was a huge like phenomenon. Like I
Yeah.
was too young to watch it,
Me
but
too.
like everyone was talking about it.
Yeah.
Terry Hatcher was like a really big deal at that point. I mean, she was before, but
Yeah. Some music, number one hits of 2004, Hey Ya by Outkast.
hey, yeah.
We were just playing that in the studio.
Yeah, we were.
walked in.
All right,
The Way You Move by Outkast as well, which is one of my favorite songs ever. Yeah by Usher. Burn by Usher. So many good ones.
I love Usher.
Me
Big year
too.
for Usher.
He ushered in some good music, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I will never forget that Yeah song because I went.
Oh yeah.
I was actually really young and my family went on a family vacation during the spring break period in like a huge party town that we didn't realize near the Grand Canyon. And so we're staying at this resort and me and my brother, who's 4 years older than me, were not allowed to leave our hotel room because of all of the spring breakers and like their, you know,
Their R-rated qualities.
yeah. And so I remember just hearing this song from the pool and being like, I want to go out by the pool. And I couldn't until it got dark and my parents would be like, all right, now let's run to the car so we can go see the Grand Canyon because like we weren't allowed to like leave our hotel room.
Oh, baby eyes. Gotta shield them.
No.
And look where you are now.
I'm a full-fledged adult.
Hooray.
At one point, I made "Yeah" by Usher my alarm clock sound because it was the only thing that could get me out of bed in the morning. Like that could get me like hype enough.
Oh my
to wake
gosh.
up.
Yes. Okay. That brings back memories. I once had SOS by Rihanna, my alarm clock for like an entire year. And do you want to bring up that song? Because the beginning is jarring. It got me out of bed immediately because it was like, bam, da 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 da. Yeah. It's like
It takes me back to the ringback tones when you call somebody.
yes, yes. Oh my God.
I played a lot of Good Charlotte to get out of bed in the morning.
Ooh, yeah, that's like very Freaky Friday of you. Even though it's not Good Charlotte playing in the beginning, but it's
the same
Good
kind of
Charlotte-esque.
beats.
I have My Chemical Romance right now as an alarm to get me up.
Ooh.
I just have the iPhone generic.
I have existential dread.
Oh.
Just pop right out of bed.
Do you have it? That beginning, bam!
I feel like I'm at the mall with that.
Or now it could be anywhere. It could be CVS and that shit's playing.
On the throwback station.
Yeah, no, everywhere I go now. We were at, where were we? Vaughn's or something? No. What Pavilions the other day. And all the songs were absolute bangers. It was like Hilary Duff playing.
Yes.
Actually,
We're
it
just
was.
dancing down the
it
aisles.
was so yesterday.
So yesterday.
Yes.
That will get me to stay longer in the store.
Absolutely.
I'll just loiter so I can hear more bangers.
You go up to the manager. Do you know what's next on the playlist?
Hey, can you come up pieces of me, please? Thank you. I'll be in the chips aisle.
I'll go buy some more stuff if you play it.
Oh man. Okay, so speaking of Hilary Duff playing in Pavilions, should we get into the actual movie?
Let's do it.
Okay, so to be clear, we watched this movie together, but we are not allowed to talk about it while we're in the same vicinity. So imagine us just watching this movie, Cinderella Story, in silence and viciously typing into the notes on our phone.
Complete silence.
It was so tense in that little room. Like,
But we're all just like,
within the first 2 minutes, we were all like struggling to keep up with the notes that we had, and it was like still credits were still rolling, and I was like, oh my god.
So, what is A Cinderella Story about?
tell us, Katrina.
Well, that was the boomerang effect.
And Katrina, back to you. Take it away.
Well played. All right, so Cinderella Story is about Cinderella, but in
Is it about Cinderella?
but a modern take on the typical Cinderella story from the 1920s.
No.
I don't know what Cinderella.
You're
came out.
doing great, sweetie. Keep going.
Let me get it out.
Sorry.
So it is the same story. So it is the 2004 version where we have our gal, Hilary Duff, and she has two evil stepsisters and an evil stepmother because her dad died.
Spoiler alert.
Within the first 5 minutes of the
I'm
movie.
joking. It's also like 20 years old. So.
And we'll get into how I think this is all her fault.
Oh my God.
This is why we're not allowed to talk.
Right. But so she goes to a big school dance instead of a ball, and she is masked, and she has a one true love-esque type of situation.
Not, sorry to clarify, not COVID mask, like eye mask.
Eye masked.
Yes.
A masquerade, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, just her.
Yeah.
That was her choice.
Yeah. The man is completely
Yes.
barefaced.
And
Right.
Zorro.
Everyone else is like,
Her and, what's his name? Carter.
right.
They're both just like, we gotta wear masks.
Everyone else is basically wearing a name tag. Like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
But she is not. And she gets scared and she runs away and she drops her cell phone instead of a slipper. And the rest of the movie is Prince Charming, a.k.a. Austin Ames, a.k.a. Chad Michael Murray, is trying to find who his princess is, similar to the classic Disney version. So,
Yes.
And
So,
Ah, yes, the lost Nokia.
okay, so right off the bat, my first little note is because it's her as a child, and she's talking about how she lives in the valley of LA. And I quote, she says, "It only looked so far away because of all the smog."
I didn't catch that.
yeah.
It's her and her dad. It looks like they're on like Mulholland or something,
Yeah.
looking over the valley. And it's like talking about how magical it is. And then it drops that line. I was like, oh, too real.
Yeah, that's very real. I just wrote down, that little girl does not look like Hillary. Bad casting.
No, but that's okay. Imagination.
Exactly. And her dad and her are very tight at the beginning. And he lets her work in his diner, which will become important to the story later on. Anyways, she makes a birthday wish. And I wrote down, man, her birthday wish sucked because immediately her dad met Fiona. Like while she was blowing out that candle, her dad met the wicked stepsister and her whole life went to hell.
Oh, so did she say her wish out loud? Or
No.
Is it just assumed that her wish was like to have a mom?
I don't know.
Or for her dad
Rookie wish mistake.
maybe for her dad to fall in love. Oh, what a sweet child.
Right. And then almost immediately the scene afterward, there is an earthquake in their house. And the whole reason that her dad dies is because he went to check on Fiona, who was screaming from the other room. So her birthday wish ruined her entire life.
Oh, shit. Whoa.
I am speechless, Katrina.
Moment of silence.
My notes are not quite as deep.
You and I are both just like, wow, we love her outfit here.
Well, my next note is, Hilary is the queen of laughing through the beginning of a line. I had amazing friends and the coolest dad. Like, she kept saying stuff like that. But Katrina's a little more insightful.
Holy shit. That is, wow. That sucks.
I thought that when we first heard the voice of her dad, I thought it was Dennis Quaid at first because it had been so long since I'd seen this. It was a real letdown when it wasn't him.
Oh, man.
We love Dennis Quaid here.
Yeah. Yes, we
Big
do.
fans. Also, they had a joke, princes go to Princeton. Usually I'm on board with this stuff, but that one was like, I couldn't defend. That was too much for me.
In the dad's defense, he had to make up some bullshit right in that moment when his daughter asked.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's like parenting 101,
Yeah.
I feel. Just being able to be like, and I'm not going to explain this right now or burst your bubble. So I'm just going to make something stupid.
Just kick the can down.
Back to the earthquake thing, like, he could have just brought her with him.
And they all would have died.
Right. Well,
I was like, why would you leave a kid alone in a crumbling room? Why don't you try to get them all
They
out
tell
at the same
you
time?
that the door frames are the safest place to be during a earthquake.
what?
Huh?
Because the door frames, they'll like support the foundation.
That goes against everything that I would believe, but
That
I
makes me
believe
think
it.
of-
That makes sense, I think, right?
I don't know what earthquake drills are like because we all grew up in the Midwest, but
Right.
tornado drills were we would go sit in the hallway and cover our head with our hands. So that must be
That was going to do something.
We had to get a hardcover book. We had to get like our math book and cover our heads.
Oh
in that.
yeah,
So
or
we
like
all-
going to the desk. I think.
So we'd all just be in the tornado being like, woo.
Amazing. Okay, so jump to when her stepsisters are doing synchronized swimming in the pool.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes, we
that
can.
coach is the true MVP of the entire film. He was hilarious.
Yeah.
The Lady Liberty. That shit cracked me up. I want to know more about him. I want to spin
Yeah.
off on him.
Just him?
Totally.
Yes.
Well, I wrote down that moment with those two twins it was reminding me of parallels of Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement because they had like the twins with doing this super broad comedy over the top like shtick.
Ding dang dunk.
Yeah.
Ding dang dunk.
And I'm like, that was also a big trope. I can't
Yeah, it
think of
was.
a third example, but I know it was a big trope.
oh,
Yeah.
Well, Fred and George Weasley, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's another example.
Just
Sorry.
like twins doing like kooky stuff.
Yeah.
I wish I had a crickets button in here.
I did have something about that scene too, though, because in the next scene, she's saying the Rhonda person, who is kind of her fairy godmother throughout this, is giving Hilary Duff kind of that pep talk of saying, do things for yourself. Like your stepmom is always making you get up at like the crack of dawn and things like that. And I was like, crack of dawn? She was the last one up. Her sisters were already mid swimming lesson. The stepmom was already getting her salmon tan on.
Yes.
Like she was literally the last person awake. I'm like, what time is this?
Which confused me because she also was able. I have a note that says like, what time does her school start?
Right.
Because yeah, the timeline of that is all very confusing.
Yeah.
It's broad daylight, as if it's like 1 p.m.
Right.
When those twins are in the pool, Fiona's tanning, and then she's able to go and work. Like the breakfast shift before school.
Before picking up her friend for school.
Right. Which normally to do that in high school, you're picking up your friend at like 7 a.m.
Yeah, 6:45, 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Like this has still made me mad since I was a kid. I'm like, it's always been dark when I've gone to school. Like my
Yes.
first period was in darkness.
Yeah.
Yes.
One time I got out of the car, my dad dropped me off, and I was like, "Good night." I mean, bye. Like literally, like it made me. And they still do this in shows where
Yeah.
I get it because of like logistically and whatever, but it's
And
like
probably just like tone. They
it's
didn't want
not
it like
realistic.
night equals
Yeah.
like creepy. You
Yeah.
know, they wanted something bright and
But
cheery.
the
But
timeline of this whole movie is off, and we'll get to that more later too. But like the timing, I just kept being like, what is happening?
yeah. Going back just for a second
Yeah.
during the synchronized swimming scene, when Sam,
Oh,
Hilary Duff,
yeah.
is running out and she gets sprayed by the sprinklers.
Yeah.
And then you just hear Fiona, because she's like, we're in the middle of the drought. Why are we running the sprinklers? And then Fiona says,
Droughts are for poor people.
legendary. That's just a great line. That's all I have to say there.
Being from Michigan, though, I never really got what this whole like situation drought thing was because we didn't have to deal with that. But
No, because we got rained on every day.
I know. But now living out in LA, I was like, oh, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
So it made a lot more sense to go
Yeah.
around.
Well, as Ollie goes outside, he crunches on the grass. Like the grass crunches below his little 2-pound paws.
The friction alone starts a fire. His paws on the dry grass.
Oh no.
Ollie is Rachel's dog, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I wrote that her sister in that first scene got that Lily Moscovich hair because they had that really going with like the.
Oh yeah, the twists and the
Also,
frills.
those twins look nothing alike. They didn't even have the same hair color.
Oh yes.
A foot difference in
I
height.
have this in my notes as well. I couldn't tell whether they were just supposed to be like sisters or twins, but turns out they are in fact twins.
They look-
and look absolutely nothing alike.
They don't even pass as sisters.
No.
But there's like the fraternal, I don't know what it is, but the
Fraternal.
one, fraternal, yeah, but they don't
Right?
look like each other exactly.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
Well, that's just because they're okay. That's just because
Science lesson.
identical twins are from one egg
Right.
that then splits,
Right.
which makes them identical DNA.
Right.
But if they're fraternal, it's just two separate eggs all along,
Right.
which
So
would
they'd
be
still-
essentially siblings cooking at the same time.
Right.
So, but they don't even pass as siblings.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they go to school, and there's this underlining plot point of Austin Ames, Chad Malcolm Murray, and Hilary Duff having this IM internet connection. They don't know who each other are, but they both met in this like Princeton chat room. So there's like this overlying mystery of like who is Princeton boy something and
69. Just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
I think
no, it was.
It's 609, but
which is the area code for Princeton.
Oh.
And then Hilary Duff's name, which I can't remember, her is the area code for the
Diner Girl. Just
Diner
kidding.
Girl.
No, it wasn't.
How did you figure that out?
The internet. It's the area code for the San Fernando Valley, which is where she's from.
Oh.
That's very astute.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. One little note that I have, this is so not deep. All my notes are just like very surface compared to you, but this one says the teacher principal lady has butterfly clips ?
I wrote that down too.
What?
I did not write
That
that down
so
at all.
weird. She's a weird character that keeps coming and going throughout the entire
Very
movie.
weird.
What is that?
Also, I've never seen an uncool kid drive a convertible to school. I want to say that.
Also, Hilary Duff is not an uncool
No,
kid.
no, it doesn't fit that mold. at all.
No.
No. Did you guys notice that throughout the entire movie, she's wearing blue, like Cinderella, except for on the night of the dance, she's wearing white, like Cinderella.
Oh, no, I did not.
Except for when she's working in the diner, then she's wearing pink. But I feel like that's like Fiona's spell on her or whatever.
Ooh.
I just like to look into like costumes and wardrobe
Yeah,
stuff.
no, I didn't notice any of that, but
Yeah.
that's a good observation.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Chad Michael Mudface as the Gilmore guys lovingly adorn him. I just read looking good as ever.
Yeah, but he's
No
also
problems
like 30
here.
playing 16.
Oh, I wrote down he was 22 to 23 and Hillary was 15 during this.
Yikes.
Yeah. Are they still doing that?
I hope not.
I don't know.
But that wristband, though. Anyone else clock
Oh
that?
yeah, I wrote that down
What?
5 times.
Oh, yeah. The
The
black
Nike armband that was
wristband.
doing
yes.
nothing.
Yes.
It was doing nothing, but it was
Just
doing
in case
something.
your right forearm starts sweating, it's there.
Guys, it was doing something.
Just doing something for you. Stockerazzi at 3 o'clock.
Oh, is that the Shelby Cummings line?
I think so.
Did you realize that she's the same mean girl that is in Freaky Friday? She is Stacey
Is
Pinkhouse.
she?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Both S names too.
Yep. I kept thinking that her name was Stacey in this movie, but it's Shelby.
Shelby Stacy. Also, Carter had a chokehold. That name on
Carter?
this whole era.
Yeah.
Carter.
I
like
actually do like that
everything.
name.
So pretty soon in the movie, they are texting back and forth on their phones. to
In
talk.
all caps.
In all caps.
T9,
which is
by the
so
way, which
casual.
takes forever.
It does.
Sorry to interrupt,
you're good.
but to get to what you're about to say, when she, well, okay, actually, I have 2 things about the texting scenes.
Yeah.
Number 1, how awkward was it to shoot all of those scenes that had no dialogue? It's just their facial expressions reacting to what they're typing.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine just everyone on set just watching that? It's just their expression. Also, they had to say it so slowly because T9 took forever.
Yeah.
LOL. L.
Also, this movie is so old.
How old is it?
Thank you. That she wrote LOL and actually meant laugh out loud.
Yes.
Like, I was like dying at that.
Oh,
I'm like,
yes,
oh
that's
my God.
what she said.
Yeah,
laugh out loud.
loud.
Okay, so back to the texting.
So everyone knows what I'm about to say is my favorite line of this entire movie is during this part where they're texting with the VO, and they all go to the same school, and they're trying to figure out like who's who, and Chad Montgomery and his VO is like, oh, what's really curious is why, I don't know what he says about this science teacher, and then he just goes, ribbit.
Yeah, he goes, Mr. Johnson's dissected too many frogs. Ribbit.
Oh, okay. My question is this. I know it was a different time, but do we think that these actors felt the cringe that they were obliged to do for these films? Or was it just like campy enough that it was like, wasn't a thing yet?
I think that is a good question. But B, I feel like that's the beauty of specifically Chad Michael Murray. Like, he was the king of cheeseball.
Because it doesn't matter what you give him to say. It's just like, look at him.
Yeah, exactly.
Just would you look at it? Just look at it.
I mean, yeah, but that was also like the style of all these movies was like really campy.
It was super campy.
Every Hilary Duff, Lindsay Lohan, Amanda Bynes movie was
So,
like
the beautiful magic trio.
Yes.
Also, high key, like Chad and Hilary look like siblings in this. I thought.
Is it the
sandy blonde hair?
Yeah, feathery hair.
Yeah, same complexion. Like, also, I thought Hilary had blue eyes this whole time. Back
No,
to
she
our
has, like,
shallow
greenish
ass
hazel.
notes compared to Katrina.
Did not notice.
I did not notice till this movie. I'm like, she doesn't have blue eyes.
No,
Oh,
Hazel.
wow.
I did know that because I used to be obsessed with her and read everything about her.
Oh.
So that's pretty cool.
So there was a montage of them texting, like and on the computer and the chat rooms, and I like the montage felt like it was 40 minutes long. And the second I had that thought, she goes, "We've been at this for 5 hours," and I'm like, "Yeah, it feels like it. Let's get this going." Why was that so long?
I don't know.
Because he quotes Tennyson to her as like two sophomores or whatever in
Oh
high
my
school,
God.
and I'm like, no. Like that would be where I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, it's past my bedtime. I gotta go, and then I log off forever. Like
Forever.
It did feel to me like an acting 101 class where they would finish this scene and then the teacher would just rip them to shreds. Like that's where their skill level was at here.
Ooh, oof. So one of my next notes is when the like mean squad comes into the diner and she's working there. And here's my thing. This is the dinner before the biggest dance of the year.
correct.
And they are ripping her to shreds for working at the diner. I'm like, how are you people any better? You're going to a diner and on a whim before your big dance.
And he works at a car wash.
Right.
Right.
So like,
Which
why
is not like I'm not hating on car washer or diner workers. I'm just
No,
saying
but
like
it's
they're
not like
equivalent.
don't act like you're better than
No.
her. Like
No.
she jokes on them. She's the one making money.
Yeah. Well, they don't. That's the point. Is they have rich parents. I think.
Was back home in Michigan, was Ramshorn a big thing for you guys?
It was.
What?
Ramshorn? That was like our diner, like we'd go to like after.
Oh,
like,
I've never heard of
shows
that.
and,
Oh
like-
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I did.
ugh, bad memories.
I've
But
never-
that's yeah, that's essentially what they were doing.
So they're all in this booth, and this is the time that Chad Michael Murray picks to break up with his long-term girlfriend with 5 other people present.
You can say it in front of my peeps.
An hour before the dance. Or you know what? I don't know how long it is because time in this movie doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But
No.
right before they have to go home and get ready for the big dance. So that is the time he chooses to break up with his girlfriend in front of everyone right before they assume they're going to this dance together.
I respect it. You gotta do what you gotta do. When the timing's right,
ballsy.
it's right.
It was not right. There was 5 other people.
Well, when you're feeling it, sometimes you just need to let it out.
all right. But I was like, that's a dick move.
Also, I wrote, does she wear the same hat every day? And then, wait, actually, I do that. I literally do that. I take back my judgment.
Oh, and then when she, wait, where is this from? I have a note that says, OMG, the iconic outfit try-on montage that every movie had during this era. Is that when she's trying on, she's trying to find her costume for the dance.
Yeah.
Yes. Love this moment. It's never overdone. I will live for this moment in every movie.
Especially if Lindsay Lohan does it, because she does it so well.
She does it so well.
Amanda
Bynes. She, the scene in Big Fat Liar where they're in like
Yes.
a costume
Yes.
The
room.
only thing that bugs me about this particular montage is that, like, because of the time, like, how long does it take to try on 12 different Halloween costumes? I'm like, she's trying to get ready for this dance. Like, I love it when it's like
It's called the fun and games era of screenwriting.
And I like how the full night costume was a consideration.
The
Did you
night
guys catch that?
Pig
where she is
yes, yes.
I wrote down, let me guess, her guy best friend is secretly in love with her. And I was wrong about that one.
Yeah.
Usually that one's thrown in there,
Yeah.
but they let Carter do his own thing for this.
Yeah, I actually really liked that because
Yeah.
it's like, hey, guess what? You can actually
Yeah.
have friends with the other gender.
Yeah.
But
you
there
know?
is no way that he would have been making out with like the popular girl in school. It never would have happened.
He was like heavily masked, and she had said that she had had a lot of NyQuil or something.
That's true. I forgot about that.
And you know what? I'm
Hopped
wondering.
up on NyQuil.
Well, and I'm just wondering if that was like a G-rated thing to say for the movie, but
Right.
it's like, okay, if you went to a school dance, maybe they're like the popular kids, maybe they were all drunk.
Well,
you
he
know?
also saved her from being like potentially raped.
Right,
I
so
think that
maybe she
part of
was
it.
drunk, he was in a costume, and he saved her.
Yeah.
There you go. Make
why.
Out City.
There was a scene in this dance where Chad had a piece of lint stuck in his hair for like a
What?
good 30 seconds, and I'm just sitting here thinking, where was the scripty and was she fired? Hair and makeup. Was she fired? Because I've been script supervisor, and that would not have flown. Personally, wouldn't let that slide.
Oh man. Well, you know what? Good for you for catching that. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I just have a note here that says, LMAO, no high school guy would ever show up to a high school dance dressed as a prince. They would be dressed in something stupid,
Correct.
like a morph suit, or as like a potato, or Guy Fieri.
Even back then, I would stand by that statement.
Yeah.
yeah, no guy is gonna be like, I'm gonna be a prince. It's like, no, you're not.
No, you're gonna be a potato.
I'm serious.
Guys, let's
Yeah,
go.
they would all opt for the funny because they're already
Yes.
hot. You don't need to act hot.
Right,
Like-
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was just funny to me. And then, okay, another thing that I have, when they go outside to that like beautiful garden area, which like amazing. That never exists at any high school, but sure, we'll let it slide. Okay. So when there are those musicians there,
Who are not getting paid for this, by the way.
thinking, what a shit gig for a musician to be like, oh my God, the only thing I did all night was play for a single high school couple. Gross.
She didn't even
Gross.
seem super into it. Like, he had to play 20 questions to like figure out like who she was. It was weird.
Definition
guys.
of starving artist. Like, you're just emceeing a high school couple's weird moment in what looked like the Twilight gazebo, which I know you guys aren't Twilight fans, but
Is there a cricket button?
there was a line that Fiona said about like a $6 pedicure, and I was like, where?
No,
Where?
no. She said $60, I think.
I heard
pedicure.
$6.
No, she said.
I was gonna say
Fiona said, I just got a $200 manicure
Oh,
or something. And then Rhonda was like, I'll show you where I can put my $6 pedicure. Like, kick her in the ass.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, that's what you're referring to.
that's all I'm referring to because
Okay.
pedicures are expensive in LA.
Yeah, I just remember Fiona going, silver palm trees. I was like, oh, wow.
Also, Fiona's had this pink furry outfit on with like the puffy sleeves that looked just like the Mean Girls Christmas show outfits.
Oh, my God.
We haven't talked
Interesting.
enough about Fiona. She is really the best, one of the best characters in this
Jennifer
entire movie.
Coolidge is always legendary. With everything that she does, man, oh, man.
She stole the show.
Yes.
They were playing Enrique, I think, Iglesias at this dance, which I was very happy to hear.
Oh.
They were?
I'm pretty sure. I Shazammed a few things, but I don't know.
Oh, I know that they were playing, the musicians were playing I'll Be by Edwin McCain. Which
I want to say this movie had a banger soundtrack.
it absolutely did.
It had Goo Goo Dolls, Bowling for
Yeah.
Soup, I think.
Most likely.
Yes.
Yeah, I was feeling it.
So, during that scene also, when Chad Michael Murray goes, how could I have seen you before but not know who you are now?
Jesus.
Great question. Because the only thing that is covered are her eyebrows.
I wrote
Yeah,
down,
that's really covering the whole identity there.
Austin is a moron. He has no idea who she is. I could maybe see him thinking it was 2 or 3 girls, but the entire student body,
Right.
half the women are brunette. Like,
This is amazing because at the same timestamp, I wrote down, damn, Chad is hot. Also, the scene when they're dancing, when they first walk into the dance, they're all dancing to a different beat.
Yes, because they were dancing in silence.
Yes.
yeah.
When explained what that means to anyone.
Yeah, so whenever, pretty much, whenever any dance scene is shot for a movie or TV, everyone is normally dancing in silence because the music is edited in post. So you just have
Can't
to.
record a character's like dialogue over the sound of music blasting.
Right. So you're just dancing in silence. You can't even be talking.
Which I've had to do many times. Have you?
Oh, yeah. It's so awkward.
Yeah, it's horrible. Especially when you're doing it for like 8 hours straight.
Yeah, because you will be. Take after take after take.
Yeah.
Hours dancing to silence.
That's how I feel every time I'm dancing, even if there's music.
Are you deaf?
I guess.
And like
socially
you can't
deaf.
make any noise. So like even like the sound of shoes squeaking, you can't do. So everyone's just
Right.
like really you can't make any noise. So it's like couldn't be more awkward.
It's actually
Exactly.
ideal. Like I wouldn't want someone talking to me while I'm dancing.
Maybe you should be an extra, Katrina. Carter does a mating dance of Zion, and I thought it looked just like the Arrested Development chicken dance.
Oh.
That's exactly what he was doing. So that was a stolen bit, I'm gonna say.
Oh my God.
Also, okay, why were there chairs set up outside like there was a wedding going on?
Oh, yeah.
What were the chairs for?
I don't know.
Nobody was outside.
I feel like that's weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
In case someone needed to sit.
Well, here's what I was going to say. They kind of look like a bride and groom,
Yeah.
right? So maybe they were just like alluding to a wedding scene there, which is weird.
She's 15.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that was like, I don't know. That's really weird. Can I move on to the car chase scene after that?
Please.
So when the twins look over at like the stoplight or whatever and see Sam in the car with Carter, first of all, hilarious line by Jennifer Coolidge where she just looks at them and she's like, "Shut up, girls." I love that. But also, I just have to say that the car chase took place like right down the street from us. They showed a couple street signs and we were like, "Oh, we live there. We walk there. Yeah, we're there every day." Yeah, and I love a good car chase scene, especially when it's comedic and with Jennifer Coolidge. That's all.
Well,
My only
there was
criteria.
a line that said, "I drive a beat up old car." I'm like, you mean the shiny, spotless chrome convertible? She's trying to like talk about how she's not cool. She's like, I drive a beat up old car. I'm like, no, you don't.
A vintage
You're in a
convertible Mustang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did she say that? In the
don't
car
know.
chase?
I don't know. Mine are a little out of order.
Who knows?
You didn't tell him? Why not?
Carter, I live in an attic, okay? I drive a beat-up old car, and he's expecting Malibu Barbie. I'll be doing what's
She is literally Malibu
I know.
Barbie.
Yeah, she is. She's like a cool
As she
vintage.
tosses her sunglasses to the back of her convertible.
I mean,
I'm
it was
such
a
a mask,
loser.
Oh yeah, the mask.
With my bleach blonde hair and my perfect Beverly Hills
teeth,
house.
You know who had a great house for being an owner of or a manager of a diner? Rhonda.
Oh, yeah.
Real estate
Yeah.
is expensive, and
Yeah.
she has a beautiful house.
That is true.
I was wondering, does Chad ever talk above a whisper in this movie? I don't think he does.
He does not. Hey, Nomad.
Okay.
Do you talk above a whisper?
So after that whole scene, and then it's back at school the next day, and he's hanging those posters like, "Have you seen this girl?"
Right.
And then the perfect outline of her hair, as if he remembered where every hair was lying on her head. And he's talking about like the texts he's gotten from her phone because he has her phone because she
Right.
left it at the dance. He's like, "Yeah, I just can't figure out who she is," and he was like recalling different texts that she had gotten, which were like pretty vague.
Yeah.
And then he was like, and then there's one that said, "Come fix Fryer." And it's like, okay, after all this, so many signs that
Yeah.
she's the girl.
Right.
But after that, I mean, come on. There's one person they call Diner Girl, and he's run into her several times at her job.
Yeah.
And
Who
she
looks exactly like his Cinderella.
right. And I'm just like, that's not your clue. Why did they even include that?
He's a moron, but can we talk about how she is kind of a jerk in this situation? Like, he is obviously, like, they're compatible because they've been talking for months. He is in love with her, basically, because they had this, like, instant connection. And he was not hiding who he was at all.
Yeah.
And so he is obviously, like, roaming the school, like, searching for her with all these auditions, basically. Not auditions, but, like, interviews. And
Self-tapes.
and all of these posters, and she says nothing. She
Yeah.
just lets him sit in it, and I'm like, this is really kind of a rude move.
Which is weird, not to jump way ahead, but like that is weird because in her locker room monologue, which is
Yes.
so great, she does say something about like
I never pretended to be someone I wasn't.
Exactly. And it's like, well,
it's been me the whole time.
It's been me.
But you haven't disclosed yourself the whole time.
Exactly. So,
But also in regards to not knowing who she was, like I think Chad is the living embodiment of if I only had a brain. Like the sentiment.
Yes.
Can there ever be hot and super smart coexisting?
Yeah, look at us.
Okay, good point.
actually, Riley Poole, National Treasure.
Oh, I love that one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
When she walks back into school for the first time, like when the scene is starting, the music sounded just like the OC score. And I'm like, I was wondering, did they all borrow the same copyright-free music or something?
Maybe.
Also meant to look that up. Did not.
Okay, cool.
But Chad also clearly got a haircut in this scene, and I bet he got yelled at for that because his hair was shorter and it was supposed to be the next day.
Unless that's one of the first scenes they shot.
Could be, but again, where was the continuity?
I don't
Police
know.
here. It's as they would say,
dirt
harsh in my
police.
mellow.
It's harsh in my mellow.
One of the
for her.
cool kids said a line. They were referring to someone like the freak who hums show tunes, and I'm like, I'll put money down that you are all theater kids if you're acting in this movie.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, that's when they're by the pool, and Shelby is figuring out who her Zorro was, and that moment where she like lets Carter down. She like is really mean to him, and then he just repeats her. Okay. That is such a like meme gifable moment. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
And then he gets water splashed on his face from the pool.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote down,
yes.
there's a banner in that pool scene behind the pool that says, "Frogs do it in the water."
Oh my God.
Enlightening, thank you. It's a great point, Diana. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
I'm saying this is a children's movie, basically, a preteen movie.
Ribbit.
Ribbit. And I was like, that is a ballsy thing to put in the back there.
When Austin lines up all the girls to like try to interview and see who they are, one of them goes,
Isn't demoralizing at all.
right? I was like, you could not get away with this. One of the girls goes, I enjoy collecting puka shells and long walks on the beach. I want to know, does Gen Z know what puka shells are?
No, probably not.
Like, that made me really feel old, that line.
I don't know.
I just thought it was funny. It was just a very dated
Gen
reference.
Z? Anybody?
Hey, comment if you know what puka shells are.
Halfway through the movie, about where we are, I noticed we were all sitting upright and leaning forward, like really into this movie, but all at the
Yeah.
same time for some reason.
Well, it's also at the point where is this the point where the like sister gets into her IMs?
That's
which
where I'm at.
never, like
Right.
that pisses me off no matter how many times I see this movie. I'm just infuriated right then and there when
Yeah.
she like digs through her shit.
First of all,
anyone with a
lock
sister
your
knows.
screen before you leave the room. If you hate your sister that much, who's sitting in your room.
I mean, yeah,
just lock
that's
that,
true.
Lock that shit.
That's true. They're just so mean, and I hate them. But when the two girls go up to Austin Ames, the car wash, and they're trying to be Cinderella, and she's like, or he asks them, okay, if you both are my Cinderella, what did you drop leaving the dance? And the one girl goes, easy, a wallet. And then he's like, no. And she's like, I mean, a wallet purse. And then the other girl goes,
Oh, a fish!
I just think that's one of the best lines.
You haven't dropped a fish at a school dance?
Wow, lame, Rachel.
Who among us hasn't?
Also, one of the sisters is literally a foot taller than Hilary Duff, and the other one is
Yeah.
a foot shorter than Hilary
And they
Duff.
both have like red brunette hair.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. In this movie, he's not smart.
No.
So she gets found out in front of the whole school, and she is humiliated, and he isn't, I guess. And that's when the climax of the story really gets kicking.
I mean, it's like either climax or just like a total like
The downward spiral.
world comes crashing down moment.
That's the last 20 minutes of any movie.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, that part always makes me sad. But then I remember it's just a movie.
I noticed that all the mean girls were like freshly lip glossed in all these scenes. And
Always.
I'm realizing all my notes are continuity based, but I was just saying like I would not want to be in charge of last looks on this.
Oh no,
my
the
gosh.
lip gloss itself probably needed someone.
Nightmare.
Just like one person hired just for lip
Literally.
gloss.
They did have a few quick changes during that skit too. I don't know
They
if you
did.
noticed that.
Well, that's called cutting.
Well, yes, normally, but like they were putting on a show in real time, so their quick changes were like instantaneous.
Isn't that something?
It
Movie
is.
magic.
Movie magic.
I really loved Hilary's outfit when she comes home from school, like right around the scene, with like the oversized long sleeves, the bell bottoms, that if they were any more low rise, they'd be an anklet, and a strappy book bag. I was just living for it.
Oh, those blue sleeves. I just kept she kept making sure that they were like over her wrists, and it bothered me.
She walks so
is
Ariana
something I would
Grande
do.
could run.
I know
that made you cool.
I know, but I just didn't like that. It just made me feel
Especially if you had the thumb hole to put your
I
thumb through.
will kill for a thumb
for
hole.
sure. But you know how like when someone is like consciously thinking about something, like people, you read their brain. The attention goes there.
Yeah.
And that's where it kept going for me, which was uncomfortable.
A lot of my notes are fashion based, but the stepsisters had this like half up like pony look, like kind of like I call it like a cheer look, and that's the exact hair that I do for my auditions whenever I have to look like a 16-year-old.
Yes.
But I think I maybe need to
seen it.
update that because it is about 15 years old now.
Yeah, but also the 90s are coming back and stuff
That's
right
true.
now.
That's
So
true.
I feel like that's, if nothing else, it's on point. Precisely.
Yeah.
Okay, but skipping forward to like a nicer moment, the moment the guitar fell in the diner, revealing that one quote, full body chills every single time. I don't know what it is, but I literally wanted to burst into tears.
Never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game.
When that happens, it just gets me in the soul, man.
Right in the soul.
Well, suddenly he's not too cool to talk to her at the diner. And I noticed he was stirring his black coffee with a spoon, stirring nothing into the coffee.
That was about 7 scenes ago.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but that's okay.
What scene are we on?
This was
This is right before she goes and moves in with Rhonda and goes and tells off Fiona.
You guys
and
move
goes
fast.
sorry.
I'm still looking at zigzag side parts, and you guys are like, plot.
sorry.
That's okay.
She's about to go confront him at the big game.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes,
her getting back to that monologue, so good. It's
Yeah.
cheesy. It's so good.
Does anyone know the specific line?
The entire monologue?
I don't know.
Or do you mean like
just
the
the
waiting for you is like waiting for water in this drought. Useless and disappointing.
ouch?
That was a serve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she walks away, and it was really hardcore.
Yeah, she called Chad Michael Murray useless and disappointing.
In his own locker room.
Yeah.
Surrounded by 15
Baller.
other dudes.
That's a
Baller
move.
move. Yeah. But then when she leaves and Carter gives her a big hug, oh my God, I love him. He's just like I just want to hug him too. He's so sweet.
No, see,
What?
I wrote down that this is problematic.
Why?
This is the point where I wrote down Katrina keeps gesturing, really frustrated.
Yeah, so this is an unpopular opinion because I know you think it's really sweet and like they go, but he knows how painful the situation is for her, and he's like, I really wanted to go watch the game, and she's like, okay, I can handle it. And you think, okay, like he's really into football, that's why he wants to do it. She has to explain football to him. He's not a fan, so he is putting her through this like turmoil to go watch this game that she clearly can't handle. And it was kind of a selfish move. And then she gets up and she's like, you know what? I can't handle it. And he's like, you know what? I'll tell you how it ends. He doesn't even go with her. He's just like, okay.
He should have gone with her.
He should have gone with her.
But that wouldn't have worked out because she needed to be by herself so she could kiss
I
Chad
get
Michael
it.
Murray.
I get the plot.
And
but,
she
like,
was really oddly ready for that kiss, being a 15-year-old. And
Yeah.
I wrote down like, this must have been before the no tongue rule in Hollywood.
Oh,
because they were going at it.
There's a lot of tongue.
Yeah. And it makes me even all the more uncomfortable that he was so
22,
much older than
23.
her.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
wonder if
unfortunately very common, but
They didn't date, did they? I mean,
think
that would
so.
have been illegal, but
I mean, at some point I bet they probably did.
Well,
Well, I think it was after the kiss and the whole plot kind of wraps up that Carter goes, you gotta love high school.
You do not.
Said not one single soul in the history of the world.
So the
listening.
moral of the story is that kissing ends droughts. That's what I got out of this.
Yeah.
As soon as they started kissing,
I missed that day in school, but this movie taught me. So
well, we've learned two things about kissing the past couple weeks. Number one, just my luck. Kissing apparently changes your luck around and therefore your life entirely.
You're right.
Number two, kissing
Ends
ends droughts. So I guess everyone should kiss more.
yeah, someone get us out of this drought, please. So I don't have to get
my
more flat tires in 100-degree weather.
Wait, sorry. Hold on. One more thing about the ending of the movie. I completely forgot about the whole thing at the end, how it ended up, the will, her finding the dad's will. And then it recaps and like it looks at everyone's lives and how they've changed. Hers is going great. Fiona's and the stepsisters are going to shit. And then they try to make it look like Carter is also doing great by showing that he booked one singular commercial.
Yeah.
Anything is possible if you just believe.
I was like, oh, his life has turned around because he booked one acne fixing commercial.
That's how it works, guys, right? You book a commercial and you're famous.
Oh, let me tell
a
you.
non-union buyout too.
Let me tell you. Yeah, it's probably non-union and great exposure, but no pay, just meals.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Great networking.
Yeah.
So that was a Cinderella story.
That was a Cinderella story, and I have some fun facts about it.
Let's hear it.
It got a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my
from
God, that
critics.
is a crime.
From the audience, it got a 53, but that means it's still rotten.
Wow,
Oh,
that is a
wow.
crime.
A lot of campy reviews, but that's what it was. Some fun facts that you might like, Rachel.
Oh.
Rupert Grint won the role of Austin Ames originally, but had to drop out due to commitments with Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
That is weird.
I know.
That would not have worked.
No.
I'm
That
sorry.
Is a hard no.
I love Rupert Grint.
Yep.
I love him. I will die on that hill. I love Daniel Radcliffe more. And Tom Felton. Actually, probably equally between the three of them. But that would not have worked. He's not like a hottie.
No.
By
It
any
wouldn't work.
means. That's just not who he is. That's
No.
not his character.
He was just like the biggest, one of the bigger names during that time period. So,
Totally.
like, this will draw in numbers. He, also another Harry Potter-ish fact is in Samantha's bedroom by her bed are Harry Potter books. Harry Potter lived in a closet under the stairs, similar to Samantha living in the attic, and both characters are orphans.
I just got full body chills. I love that so much.
I knew Rachel would appreciate those.
I love that so much. Wow, wow, wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, get down. Say it.
All right, I can go. I have a confession. It is a recent confession. So, as I mentioned earlier in the pod, I went to a Fox party yesterday on the Fox lot, and they told us that we could walk around the lot. No one was gonna, tell us to go away at a certain point in time, and that they weren't monitoring us. So, like,
Yeah, that blows it wide open.
so they peruse the lot at your leisure. And I am wearing heels, high heels, that I was like, I can last in these for a couple hours if I'm standing, but if I have to walk. So after taking a group of us went on this little self-made tour of the Fox lot, and about 5 studios in, I have to take off my shoes and walk around
I love this visual.
a Los Angeles backlot with my shoes in hand, just being like, because I wasn't not gonna walk around the lot. Like, they gave us free reign, and I'm that person. I love the Fox lot. So I just had the most disgusting feet at the end of this because it is an active lot. So my confession is that I just walked around a back lot barefoot for at least 45 minutes yesterday, and I don't regret it at all.
I wouldn't either.
It's giving very like Carrie from Sex and the City, like heels in one hand, cigarette in
Yes.
the other,
And
walking
yes,
barefoot.
I had to bum a cigarette off of someone.
Yeah.
I didn't light it or anything. I just, for effect, for myself.
It was an extra in like a giraffe costume. You got a light, bro.
He's the
Ben Affleck standing behind one of the.
He's the Toys
know
R
that
Us
meme?
draft. He just doesn't have a lot of work these days, so he's just. It all went wrong, man.
Oh, that's
Oh shit!
good. I don't have any like from this week, so I'll just pull one out of my past.
I feel like I might have to do the same.
yeah.
Oh well,
Go ahead.
no, you go ahead. I don't want to steal your
Say
thunder.
it out loud. Say it.
Okay. Well, it was my friend's birthday last night, and we went out, but I didn't want to drink. But I did want to make his night by doing a shot with him. So I ordered him a shot of tequila and I shot water, and he didn't know. He was so excited to do a shot
That
with
sounds like
me.
something I would do.
That's
I like
just
that.
strategic,
I like
man.
that.
That is that's thinking outside the
And I
box.
even used the lime afterwards as if I really needed it.
Because you're a good actor.
I am. What's yours,
That's
Mel?
good. Okay, if I'm like just pulling a random one from my past, that I was talking about in the car, actually. No, I was going to tell you guys, but I didn't tell you yet. Okay, here's a random confession. When I was like, I don't know, probably like a tween years at some point, my little sister kept stealing my body wash, and we had a thing where she would not stop stealing my things, and it was so aggravating. So I had tried to hide it and everything. She still would find it and steal it. So it was like a white color, so I replaced it with cottage cheese dressing.
Oh no!
I never told her.
Cottage cheese dressing? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, it was like a blue cheese cottage. It was disgusting.
Why would they make such
But
a
it
thing?
looked identical.
Cottage cheese. In
That's
general,
no for me, dog.
I feel like I have a cottage cheese phobia.
She moved out shortly after.
It's too chunky. She's like, this is the last straw. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Prankster.
So that was a Cinderella story.
That was a Cinderella story.
Thanks, guys, so much for listening. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Millennial Drama Queen Pod, and please rate and subscribe wherever you're listening.
This podcast is brought to you by Mastermynd Media.